Hello, everybody. This is Mark Fortin with Michigan Matters. It is the 8th of October, and we've got kind of a special podcast today. You know, yesterday Pam Bondi really swept the floor with some of these communists in the Senate and showed them what's what. And it's interesting that today we have with us, Genevieve Peter Scott, who is running for Senate in the Michigan Senate in this open seat. And so we're going to have a nice conversation with her and find out a lot of things. So anyway, welcome, Genevieve.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you're here. And what I'd like to ask is, this is a very interesting race. We have a longtime Republican candidate running who seems to have the backing of the president. It appears that way. And he's probably very well funded and all that type of thing. And we have an open seat that's very important. From our standpoint, Michigan Matters, our mission statement is to support Trump in every possible way and his agenda at every level of government.
100%.
And so who wins the Senate race is very important to us and the type of person that wins.
Mm-hmm.
So may I ask, in light of the fact that this one gentleman has already started out pretty strong and everything, Mackinac Conference, that type of thing, what inspired you to run?
I love that question. First of all, thank you so much for having me, Mark. And I love the opportunity to be able to just come and share and answer questions. So your question is a good one. First of all, our president, okay? I mean, what an amazing president we have.
Absolutely.
In my lifetime, I've never seen anyone do the things that he's doing. Probably even since Washington, have we had such a bold, courageous, dedicated, America First candidate, president. Every single thing that he is touching right now has been needed to be addressed for the last 40 and 50 years. We have seen a decline in our country for far too long.
A long time.
President Trump gets it. Unfortunately, on both sides of the aisle in Congress, we have not had people that have had the back of Americans, have been constitutional, have supported the voices that have been crying out. Mm-hmm. We have not seen that, which is why in this time to have an opportunity to take a seat from voices that do not share our America First agenda, after 31 years of controlling a seat, I cannot take a chance that we might lose it. It has to be a strong America First mega candidate, and I've been called Trump in heels, and I take that proudly.
Did you happen to see, I think we brought it up in a podcast recently, Laura Logan, you know Laura Logan?
I do.
She did a video about 2 weeks ago, approximately. It was kind of short. I saw it on Instagram or something or other, X or whatever. And she flat out said that in 2026 may be the deciding factor of whether America stays a republic or becomes a communist state. And if we fail, it's 100% on the back of the Republican Party. That's what she said. The Republican Party, in my view personally, I would like to know your view. These guys aren't doing nothing. They're not codifying anything. They're dragging their feet. Weeks turn to months before you know it, the election. If we lose in 2026, we're going to hear nothing but impeachment.
Yes. 100%.
But how do you feel about all that?
Yes, I agree with Laura, and I had the pleasure of meeting Laura in Vegas about a month ago. She was at a Vindicated conference where you had Michael Flynn, you had Mike Lindell, you had all of these folks that have been so vilified, truly because of President Trump being able to take over the White House again, vindicating these folks that we're seeing all of this information coming to bear and shine, how much disinformation, how much we've been lied to, and how much has been going on behind the scenes in the CIA and the FBI and all of these alphabet agencies that are not elected, how they have taken our Constitution, taken our rights, taken our liberties, and completely worked against us. So Laura, love her. It's 100% on the backs of the Republicans, and I'll tell you why. We have the winning message.
We do.
We are, and I actually don't call myself a label, and I'll tell you why. Don't call myself a Republican, although I align myself with the Republican principles. I don't call myself a conservative, although I am very conservative. I call myself an American. And the conservative movement, the Republican movement is lockstep 100% American and for American values and everything that our founding fathers fought for, that stood in a room with nailed shut windows to make sure that they could create this in hot weather in Pennsylvania. Yes, in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, hot weather, to make sure that we had a country that was free. And that government was never created, Mark, and you know this, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. It was never created to give us rights. It was created to protect our rights. And the senators and the House of Representatives, that is their job, and they take an oath, and we have been sold.
We have been, absolutely. You know, you brought up something early on about going all the way back to Washington. How Trump has been so important. And I was kind of looking at it one day, really looking at it. Times of American history was absolutely critical. And naturally, that's Washington.
Yes.
There's a whole lot he did to create America, like stepping out and not becoming king when a whole bunch of them would have made him king.
Yes.
And then there's Lincoln, naturally.
Yeah.
The Civil War, no idea what was going to happen to America there. It could have been all destroyed.
Right.
And really, since then, Trump is it. We're on the verge of communism. Even World War II. The end, even though it's easy to say now, but when you really look at things, World War II was the end was only one way. There's only one way it was going to end, with us winning. Even how terrible it was. We had the manufacturing, we had the protection of two big oceans. They couldn't touch our factories. We just put stuff out like you wouldn't believe. It was just a matter of time and how many people are going to die. It was all it was. But the end result was set in stone already.
Yeah.
But then, those two times, Washington and Lincoln, and today, America lives or dies in those three situations.
Right, and you bring up a good point, Mark, that, we were building things. We had those factories. We were able to, on a dime, turn our factories around to actually be able to have for national security purposes and turn around and win that war. And we did that. And we
don't even have the skilled trades to run them factories.
Exactly. And if you notice on my website, that's one of the things that is really near and dear to my heart, because we actually, and a lot of people might not know this, we actually have about 219,000 jobs in Michigan, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in April that have been unfilled. Why? Because we don't have the skilled labor to fill these jobs.
And Michigan was the heart of skilled labor at one time.
Yes. We built that class. We built those hard workers, those trained skilled laborers. And at some point, and I would probably say 10, 15, even maybe 20 years ago, we did something very damaging to our youth. We told them that the only way they were going to be successful, Mark, was if they went to college.
Yep.
And shame on us, because we see the
and
devastation.
The left used the colleges.
Yes.
They've been using education since Jimmy Carter started that stupid department.
100%, which hopefully we will see an end to that for sure because of President Trump.
Absolutely. So I was looking at your flyer here, which is very good.
Thank you.
And there's some key talking points.
Yes, some priorities.
Revitalize Michigan's economy.
Yes.
Do you think that's needed? Do we have to spend time doing that?
Yes. And you know what? That also calls for, we need federal government working together. We need state government working together, local, county. We need to come together, Mark. We need to unify. I think Americans are really ready for a unifying America. We are called the United States for a reason. We are truly the United States, but there are some fundamental things that are going to have to happen that are going to unify us. And I'll tell you one of them. And the, obviously increasing and helping the economy is one, but I'll tell you some fundamental things that now that we have a president that totally gets it and wants to bring America back to its golden age, we have to have things that unify us, and one of them is a unifying language. So President Trump has issued an executive order. Now, again, many people might not know that executive orders only are good for the federal government and the agencies. They're not good for private citizens, and they're not good for the states. They're only good as long as the president is in the White House, right?
Unless Congress codifies something.
Correct. And there were a lot of things that were codified by Congress in the big, beautiful bill. But there's so much that hasn't. That's one of the fundamental things that I want to make sure is codified, and that is making sure that we have a unifying language, the English language, codifying his executive order. And I'll tell you why it's unifying. Because we have many people of many different languages all over the United States. And when we rally around one language and one flag, that is unifying. We put our differences aside. We stand for the flag that has fought and died for our freedoms, the people that have fought and died. We use that flag for triumph and for sadness. We rally around it. When you have dual loyalties,
that's right.
That is fractioning for a nation. We have to be unapologetically American.
Absolutely.
Unapologetically. And our president is our leader, and he is showing us the way that we do not have to go into these crazy ideas that have been literally damaging the American soul. All of the woke ideologies, the things that are being brought into our elementary schools, the multi-language, big problem. So it's not excluding anyone. It's actually doing the opposite.
We always celebrated our cultures. I mean, one of the great things about America, since I'd like to eat, is all the restaurants. You got Italian, you got Polish, you got all these different things. Indian, you have Chinese, you got all these different things. And I know many of the recipes have been Americanized quite a bit, but there are more traditional ones. But I mean, and there's nothing wrong to celebrate one's culture.
100%.
But if you're leaving there and coming here, there's a reason. If there was so wonderful, you would never came here. Because, it took a lot of courage to uproot your family and go across an ocean to start a new life in a country you don't know much about. So, I mean, to me, that takes dedication. And everybody, I don't care where they're from, become a citizen, you should be making a pledge. So with these Somalis in Congress, what pledge did they make? Did they make a pledge to the Constitution? I doubt it. How are they even allowed to be in there? I think there's a movement right now to make... you have to be a citizen to be in Congress or the Senate, and I'm 100% for it. These people don't belong there. They should be stripped of their citizenship and sent back. They came as refugees. A refugee is a person from a country. It could be some kind of terrible weather disaster, natural disaster, it could be war, whatever, that drove them from their homes. And they're a refugee to some place of safety until they can go home again, not until they become a citizen of where they went. Every one of them that came as a refugee should be going back. Every one of them. I don't care where they're from. And it's one of the reasons we're in trouble.
So to your point, Mark, absolutely. You are 100% on board. And again, back to the job of our representatives, okay? These are the things that they should be addressing. One of them is we have a refugee program. So allowing, and there were 90,000 Somalian refugees that were brought in and sent to Minnesota that has completely changed the culture of that state. So I believe, and this needs to happen, They need, and President Trump is working on these things. He's very aware of all of these issues that we have, which is why, back to your point of why I'm running, now is the time to get people in there that also understand the importance that it is time to make these changes now. Codify these executive orders to make sure that, God forbid, someone that doesn't have our values get into office in 2028, that they completely eliminate all that he's done, all the hard work that he's done. So one of them is this refugee program. It needs to have a timestamp on it. It's not, you come into our program, so our country, and then we just let you live forever and that's that. No, we will come and give you safety. But even before that, you need to first look at countries that can provide safety around your country, that have your values, that have your customs and your culture. That is the most humane thing
This was all a
that we
globalist
can
design.
do. Yes, that's the most humane, not only for them, but also for us. We have a culture that is a very identifiable culture. And we have to, again, back to being unapologetic, we have to be able to say, this is our identity, this is our language, this is our flag, this is what we stand for, and these are the things that we will protect.
We must.
We must.
If our children's going to have a future.
Absolutely.
So,
has to happen.
Also, this is interesting because we go back a bit. Okay. I remember in 2020, all the work that the whole pile of us did, you included.
Absolutely.
And we won a great deal, except the presidency.
But we did, Mark.
We
he
did.
won in
We
Macomb. We did win the presidency in
We did.
Macomb. 100%.
And I think Trump won the presidency, and a lot of us have been called election deniers.
Right.
The Michigan Senate, senator named LeBroom, or whatever his name was, it means nothing to me anymore.
Yes, McBroom, Senator
yep.
McBroom, the Michigan.
They did a Senate report.
Right.
And I still have it. I should have got it out for this. I was unprepared.
No
But anyway, in this Senate report, the Republicans saying that those of us that thought that there was something wrong with the election should be investigated by the Attorney General of Michigan, who happens to be a Democrat. We should be investigated. Now, at that time, you know, Lisa and I went around the state quite a bit. We were running for state party chair.
Right.
And everywhere we went, we asked groups. The littlest group we went to was in St. Ignace, 3 people. Wonderful, wonderful
I love
3
it.
ladies.
I love it.
And then I think the biggest was about 500. Somewhere in the middle of the state where that really great sheriff is at, that really great constitutional sheriff.
Yes.
Anyway, and that was interesting. There was 500 people in there. And when that sheriff walked in that room, you wouldn't believe it. Standing ovation. People loved him. If we will be a politician. I imagine being a politician, like Macomb County politicians. I don't know of one of them that could walk into a room and get any major applause unless they're with their own little groupies. If I was a politician, I would love it. But you got to be representative to have that happen, not an elected official. There's a difference. So, but if you're an elected official or representative, you walk into a room of 100 people, 500 people, 30 people, and they all stand up and give you a standing ovation. That's the way it should be for any elected representative. I usually use the word elected official a lot because very few are representative. We do have a few, though. We got some in Michigan. But anyway, I find it maddening, the total lack of representation in Lansing, Washington, at the local level, townships, you name it. It's like the machine moves forward and there's no concern about the feelings of the individual person that's supposed to be represented.
Yes. And
Now, one quick thing.
Yep.
They all have a mandate. Senator Thune is from Dakota. 63% of Dakota voted for Trump and gave him a mandate. How come Thune in the Senate isn't doing what he should be doing?
Right.
But anyway.
Right. Well, again, to your point, this man got a standing ovation because he was a constitutional sheriff.
That's right.
And Michiganders, if we are about the Constitution, we're about freedom, we're about faith, we're about family. We are about the basics. We're Midwest values. Constitutional authority is what our founding fathers, our U.S. Constitution was built on. So if we, obviously it's a constitution, right? So if we have elected officials, as you prefer to call them, not following the Constitution, what are they doing? What are they following? Where are they going? I mean, and then I'll go to another one, that you're going to touch on is, I tell this story when I speak, and it really speaks volumes. The Davy Crockett, so Davy Crockett, before he was obviously a fighter in the Alamo and unfortunately died, he was a congressman in Tennessee, and he had voted as a congressman to give a very noble $20,000 to a woman that had lost her husband, who was a veteran. And he just thought, it was the right thing to do. When he went back to his constituents, there was a farmer that came up to him and he said, Congressman Crockett, I just need to tell you that as noble as that $20,000 was to that woman, it was not your money to give.
True.
It was the people's money.
That's right.
The people get to decide what charity they give to and what they don't. The Constitution has specific allowable areas for the tax-paying money to go to.
No USAID?
No USAID.
Gosh.
No all of this foreign aid. None of that. It's for taxes. It's for security. It's for defense. It's for even collecting debts. I mean, there's very specific, and that has to come back. We can no longer exist, and I'm telling you, we are bought and paid for by so many foreign countries because we have $37 trillion in debt. And do you know just our interest alone is budgets for entire states? I mean, it's insane what our interest is in billions of dollars interest. So how is it, and there's only so much money. I mean, we can't just keep printing money, right? This is the foundation of everything that trickles down. Every single thing that we're seeing, the tie up in, our the chain, our food, and the expenses in our food, the all of the chain for our cars, there's no inventory for our housing market, our mortgage rates. Everything is tied into the lack of money. So it's supply and demand. They're going to be able to, ask for the most and highest amount because they can, because there's less out there and there's more demand. So we've got to stop Congress, and that is one thing that I'm adamant about, and I will do as your next United States Senator, as I will make sure I will not vote for anything that is not constitutionally allowable.
There's something else that I think new senators should do. When somebody walks up and calls you a freshman, you got to smack them. Because an individual elected to the United States Senate has a job to represent the state they're elected to. Not, you got to wait a year or two because you're just a freshman. Keep your mouth shut and learn.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe in that at all. You're elected, that's your job. And the same thing goes with Congress, this freshman crap. These rules that they have, most of them are probably unconstitutional and stupid. It's been developed over the centuries, the 2 centuries we've been a country. But anyway, there's all these kind of things that I find maddening. The power of the speaker is too much. The power of the Senate Majority Leader is too much, especially when nothing's happening. So there's a lot of changes have to be made if we're to survive. But one thing I think that people have to understand, and unfortunately no one's taught this stuff, but we are a republic. And when we elect these people, whether they're elected officials or really representatives, they go there and they spend trillions of dollars. That's our money that we are responsible for. If somehow the country were to collapse, or we could lose our 401ks, it's our debt. We elected them to represent us, and then we don't police them to see what they do, and they run us into debt. It's our debt.
Yes.
You've heard statements like, every American is $100,000 in debt or whatever. That's true statements, because it is real. We are not a democracy, we're a republic. So that kind of thing, too, people have to be educated on. But anyway, so also you're talking about we've already talked about protecting the taxpayer, but promote American values big time. The election integrity is very important, as you and I both know. We were there. We had friends at the TCF Center all day. They saw all this stuff. While our Republicans, we could not find a Republican elected official in 2020 that would challenge or investigate the election. There's a gentleman running for governor right now. He was running for attorney general back then. And we knew him. And we begged him, if you become attorney general, will you look into,
Yes.
not challenge,
Right.
not, will you look, nothing wrong with our elections. Every one of them, and as you know, we already mentioned the senator that came out with that stupid report. And we all know, we knew it then and we know it now, that, but at the same time, it was kind of good in a way because it exposed all the more how corrupt these Democrats are. They are truly communist. They really are. It's all about chaos. It's all about all that type of thing.
Well, a couple things I'm going to touch back on that you've said, because you've said so much, and I love, just your thinking, and obviously, I've always, loved your patriotism and your love for our country, and I thank you for all that you do, truly. You mentioned about, being called a freshman. And being able to stand up and be the voice of Michigan, and I think you know me well enough, Mark, that I am a fighter, and I do not take no for an answer, and I do not back down. And there is no way when I go to the United States Senate that I will be any less than a strong voice for Michigan and our country.
Could I ask you a question? With this, we might disagree on.
Okay.
I don't know. But
I'm
there
excited.
are a lot of people, because of these situations, people like Nancy Pelosi and her inside trading and all this kind of stuff. Because of all these things, a lot of people are perpetually calling for term limits. What's your thoughts on that?
I think we absolutely 100% need term limits.
Do you think so?
I do. I think that right now we have a situation where we have people that have gone into this and become career politicians.
True.
And have, lobbyists are real. Lobbyists are real. They come, they go to Congress, they become congressmen, they leave Congress, and then they become lobbyists because they know all the inside tricks. I think that is abhorrent. I don't think that the Founding Fathers ever wanted that to happen. That is not called representative government. If you can be bought and sold because you know the inside scoop of this, that, or the other, you're not representing the people that you have been elected to represent. You're representing yourself. It's self-interest, and that's a huge problem. So yes, I do support term limits because I think, and I'm not saying 2 years, 4 years, maybe it's 12 years, maybe it's, enough. But I also think people say, well, they need to have enough time to be able to get their feet wet and, get their sea legs or whatever. Then we need to make things a little simpler, okay? Because if you need 2-3 years to get your feet around, how business is done, then let's make it simpler. Let's not have a 1,200 page bill, okay, like the Obama bill, where no one is reading it, and you've got Nancy Pelosi saying, well, let's pass it first before we read it. That's insane. That is not representing the people.
No, it's not.
It's not, and it has to stop. So we've got to make it simpler. We've got to be to where people can actually see and hold their representatives accountable. But unfortunately, what's happened is people want to give up because they make it so complicated. They make it so, they've got these packed bills, 2, 3, 4, 5, bundled into a... Stop.
Yeah, I should have brought a Constitution in here. We have some out there, a little pamphlet.
Yes.
Our whole Constitution.
Exactly.
And yet they pass a bill and it's just reams of paper.
Exactly. Our Constitution is actually technically 4 pages long.
Isn't that something?
That's something.
But have you thought about the other side of the coin?
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. In Lansing, the House is 3 terms, 3 2-year terms. So someone gets elected to the Michigan House, they're there for a total of 6 years if they get reelected, which normally they do because they're the incumbents and all the laws support incumbency.
Right.
I view every election as a term limit. The problem is the elections aren't fair, they're dishonest, there's no integrity, there's fraud, there's all this stuff. The power of the incumbency, there's nothing done to kind of tamp that a little bit. The problem is there's no institutional, I'm talking about Lansing though, you're talking about federal,
Right.
but it may be similar. The there's no institutional memory. The only institutional memory is the staffers who have careers there, and every 6 years they're a staff of a new person. So they're running the government. So
Great
unelected
point.
people.
Great point.
So I'm wondering, to me, term limits have to be, I think you kind of mentioned, longer. Because and they got to be in a way where you maintain institutional memory. Oh yeah, 30 years ago we passed that bill and look what it did, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean, but I also know that that's the kind of stuff that happens in the federal government that become the deep state. And we cannot allow this. I cannot be more pleased that President Trump and Elon Musk has dozed so many things and looked into so many things. We should not have the largest employer in the nation be government.
No.
We should not. That's never been the intent.
No.
We should have it as private enterprise, and we should have it as charitable organizations. We should have it people, that are literally giving back to the country, not taking. Remember, every single federal employee is employed and paid for by you, the taxpayer. You, the taxpayer.
And that's a huge, as the government grew, a huge voting block too.
And a huge burden on the American, on the backs of the American people and the American family.
Yep.
We have to stop, again, spending outside of the constitutional limits. We have to stop thinking that the federal government can solve all problems. It can't. We've seen it. It doesn't.
So do you agree if we had term limits, we have to think about how we do it?
Well, I agree with you that these people that become institutionalized also need to be filtered out. They don't need to stay there. I think, yes, that you need to do it in a way that has fresh blood. I'm fresh blood. I'm fresh energy. I'm not, someone that has been in the cog. Right?
You're not pushing 80 like most of the other senators?
No, and I'm not, I'm not someone that's going from, political office to political office. I'm someone that loves America. I'm someone that loves Michigan. I love the people of Michigan, and I want to make a difference. And I know the challenges that come with being in the Senate because, why? The best job, even though I've started my career in education, went into business, and then ended in public service, right? But the career that prepared me the most for the Senate is being a middle school teacher.
Really?
Okay? I have to neutralize bullies all day long. I have to refocus everyone into the main point of moving forward. Right? I've got to stop nonsensical debating, right, over whose pencil it is. All of these qualities and traits are exactly what they're dealing with in the Senate. We talked about that earlier, about the Pam Bondi, where she had to school these people. They were out of control.
Yes.
Just nonsensical things that they were saying. Just a grandstand.
That's it.
We have a country to save, Mark, and I know you and I are on the same page here, 100%. We have a country to save, and we have a man in the White House.
And one chance to do it.
You got it. And by the time I get there in 2027, we will have 2 solid years to make sure everything is not only codified, but it is ready for perpetuity, meaning ongoing past him and, God forbid, people that don't have our values and don't have our liberties and freedoms forefront and America First forefront, they can't back it out.
So now you are announced candidate.
I am.
But you still have the procedure to do. You need signatures and that type of thing.
Yes, I do.
How many are required now?
So 15 minimum, 30 maximum. And they are obviously, they are just the right to get on the ballot. So you can sign anyone's petition, but you can only sign one per race. Democrat or Republican, only one per race.
Is there anything, this is a question I've had before.
And by the way, just real quick, they will be at your office if anyone wants to come and sign for me.
Yep.
I would very much appreciate it.
We have a few here. Yeah.
Yes, and we can get as many as you want.
But is there this might be a stupid question. It's a statewide race. You need so many signatures.
Correct.
does it have to be divided regionally in any way?
That's an excellent question. It absolutely does.
It does?
So it does, yes. We have 13 congressional districts, right? And that means with 13 congressional districts, we have 13 congressmen and women that represent us in Michigan. And we must have half plus one. So 7. We must actually have signatures from 7 of the 13 congressional districts, and the minimum signature amount is 100. So with that, you want to get about 400 per congressional district of that 7, right? So 400 because, again, they could throw out half of them, right? They can invalidate them. It could be a person that signed in the wrong county. It could be a person that signed, an address that was not their registered address, which actually I would love to make that point. When you are signing a petition, so that you make sure that your petition is valid, you want to make sure that the signature that you are signing is a signature similar to the one on your voter ID or your license. In addition, the address has to be the same as your voting address. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
I've often wondered about that, but I never dug into it at all.
Yes. Yep. No. Great questions.
Anything else you'd like to share? I mean, I was just looking at this, but you've covered a lot of good stuff.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Well, I just adore you and Lisa and everything that you guys have continued to do. I think that having strong patriots, that we do, and we have many in Michigan, and I love that. What we were able to do in 2020, because we were united, we worked together, we made sure we were a well-run machine. There were hundreds of people that came in, and one thing we did that absolutely made the difference, not only the most important is that we united together and we worked as one team, as a well-oiled machine, but we also went into the blue districts. And we made sure, remember, we went into Centerline, we went into Roseville, we went into Warren, because those people, they are crying out for attention of the
exactly.
We have the right message. And I want to, just invite your listeners to reach out to those folks, because that's what's going to unite us. Those are people that need to know the truth. And, as you know, I recently got married. It actually will be 3 years coming up in November. And I gained a daughter out of it, and a son. And she's 30 years old. And I put on my Facebook page a quote from Teddy Roosevelt, President Theodore Roosevelt, and the quote was about the having one language, having one flag, and to assimilate.
He was very big on Americanism.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I put it up there, and she responded very, I want to say, very telling about what our culture has done to our youth. And that has been to see something like that as dividing. And I wrote back and I responded to her and I said, honey, I understand that you see this as division, but to really circle back to the very beginning of our conversation here in this interview, having a common language, having a common identity, being completely 100% unapologetic American is the most uniting, loving, humane thing that we can ever do. And that brings me to also having secured borders. And as you know, I fought fiercely against sanctuary cities. I built coalitions that went to 45 different town halls, fighting for resolutions to defy this sanctuary city laws in other states. I have fought in, school districts against illegal mandates for masks. If you want to wear a mask, it's your business, but do not mandate us. It's against the Constitution. Do not force these kind of things. I've been a fierce defender of our rights, of our Constitution, and our freedoms. And when my daughter, who I call my daughter because she's my daughter in my heart, when she responded that way, I had to take that time to educate her on those are the things that unify us.
Yes. And you were talking about unity before. I'm sorry I keep backtracking here and there because none of this we planned. So, there's something that gives Trump gives me a lot of hope. In spite of all the pushback, all the lies, all the garbage, oh my gosh, but tons of hope. He's quite a hero, a guy that never had to do any of this. But anyway, but look at also this disaster of Charlie Kirk. And look what it, I to say I followed him is extreme. I was aware of him. I watched a lot of his things, which was all really fantastic, but I never really followed him. And I knew he was super popular. But when this happened, the response around the world, I never believed or understood he had that much reach. And you talk about unifying. England is in an uproar now.
Yeah.
Finally. England is finally pushing back.
Praise God.
The people anyway. But look at them.
Yes.
They're up to here. They're unarmed.
Yeah.
I mean, what can they possibly do other than scream? I don't know how much help that's going to do.
Right.
But Europe has been devastated.
Yep.
And yet the people all over the world, because of him, there's a rebirth of faith. There's a rebirth of national pride. There's a rebirth of all this type of thing. And that kind of goes hand in hand of what Trump has been doing. It's kind of interesting, don't you think?
100%. Mark, he has allowed the floodgates to open up for people to just feel so free to be able to share their love for our country, their love for the Lord Jesus Christ. There's been truly a revival. People, if you look on Facebook, churches, pastors are saying, our churches, our attendance is up, our youth are coming, they want to know more about God. They're looking at Charlie Kirk that never, ever even knew who he was. Who's this Charlie Kirk? And I knew him.
Did you?
As a nationally known advocate myself. We went to many different, all over the country, we would see each other.
Wow.
And I actually have his picture on my phone because I want to remember, be bold, be brave, and say me.
It's very interesting because
Call me God.
it's just an amazing situation whereby hundreds of thousands, I think that stadium held 100,000 people.
Oh, yeah, at
And
least.
then you got the response all over the world, the response at football, and every aspect of American life has been coming together because of all that. And I think the biggest thing is the media blitz that we've suffered under for decades
Right.
has led us to believe that people that think like us, patriots, are a minority, that
Right.
the whole world's gone crazy. Well, guess what this showed us?
Yeah,
We're the
exactly.
majority.
Absolutely.
And people, I think part of it is they're not afraid to stand up anymore,
Absolutely.
which is really
Absolutely.
going to be changing things.
Absolutely. I agree, and I feel it. There's a revival. There's true revival. And, I said, it was quite devastating for me when I heard the news. And on so many levels. The last time I saw him was at my church. And I got to go in the green room and greet him and welcome him to our church and thank him for being here. And he kind of laughed because the last time we had seen each other was in Florida. So it was like, whoa, kind of, what are you doing here? I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? And so it took me several days, right, to kind of grasp what happened.
Yeah.
But to your point, I said to my husband, as devastated as I was for several days, I know, because I have 100% faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, that He will use this for His mighty, mighty triumph. And as you so eloquently said, Mark, everything that we've been seeing has been a complete revival because they killed the wrong martyr. This martyr had outreach like nobody realized.
Really? I never
Nobody
did.
realized. And how beautiful are we seeing for all of that?
Yeah. So, Genevieve, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
We'll have
my
to do it again a
pleasure.
few months down the road and get a
would
report on
love
how
to.
things are going.
Yes, I would
And,
love to. I would love to. And if I can give my website address for those
Absolutely,
that want to go. So my name after I got married is Genevieve Peters Scott. I know a lot of people know me as Genevieve Peters, but I did add the Scott. So my initials are GPS. So it's real easy to go to my website. It's GPS for Senate.com, gpsforsenate.com, and there's a nice little commercial right in the middle of it, and you'll get to know a little bit of my background, being born and raised in Detroit and having deep roots in Michigan. So God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Michigan Matters, because it does.
Thank you, Genevieve. So you can go to our website, michiganmatters.org. And on that, if you care to help us out a little bit, there's a contribute button. There's also a calendar of upcoming events. We have some events coming up, and you can see what all's going on. You can also sign up for the newsletter that comes out every Friday, and be up to date as to what's going on, because Michigan does matter, most definitely. Thank you very much, and we will look for you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.